Hey everybody, welcome to Late Horror Show.
Hey, sweetheart.
What's going on there? Hey, what are you doing there, Ted? Anyways.
Oh, can you keep that up the whole show? Can you do that?
No, I can't do that the whole show. I was contemplating doing the voices for the whole show, but...
Sweetheart.
Peter Lorre. Oh, Joe Cairo.
You should do the whole show like that.
Oh my God. Anyways, we are in film noir mode.
Yeah.
First of all, welcome. It's the Late Horror Show. Check us out. Podcast.
Today it's the Late
on
Noir
the iTunes.
Show.
It is the Late Noir Show. I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out all the links below. Check out our Patreon. Do a search for the Late Horror Show. Give us some support. Facebook. Just do a Google search. Everything comes up. There you go, people. If you're listening on iTunes, there you go. You can find us over on YouTube. You can watch our ugly mugs. See?
Not me.
The mugs,
I'm sexy.
Yeah. You can see Ted in his muscle shirt. The walrus that never was.
It's my uniform.
Oh. Anyways, yes, we are in film noir
It's my money-making shirt.
This is mainly a horror channel, but man, every now and then we love to do
Gotta branch
movie.
out.
Yeah, branch out every now and then.
Man can't
do a
live
movie
on bread
we love.
alone.
And let me tell you, if you guys have never been introduced to... So this is just going to be a love fest with me and Ted. You're going to hear a lot of stuff about Humphrey Bogart, Peter Lorre, some of the other cast and characters in here. John Huston directed this. But anyways, we're going to just love on this for however long we go. And
if
we
you've
may
never
go a while,
seen it,
but...
or if you're one of those people that won't give a black and white movie a chance, and I know some of you guys out there, not so much our crowd that we have here, but there's some people out there, or people that just haven't been introduced to this genre of film before. This is considered like the king daddy of film noir. This is
let me tell you,
film noir.
Film and keeping you engaged in the 40s with this film
Not
noir.
a minute wasted.
Not
Bam,
a
bam,
minute
bam,
wasted.
bam, bam.
Especially in this movie, The Maltese Falcon, 1941, directed by John Huston.
His first feature film.
Yes,
He
and
would go on to become a great director.
great director. I mean, he
director.
was an actor, a producer, everything else.
Well,
too,
I mean, he went on to direct a couple other Bogart, Treasure of Sierra Madre, African Queen. In the '80s, if you grew up in the '80s and you liked that movie Annie with Carol Burnett and the Hard Knock Life, he directed that movie too. He was in Battle for the Planet of the Apes,
right?
As the lawgiver.
Yes, the lawgiver.
The makeup.
Yeah. No, there's so many things we're going to touch on in this show that you're not even going to believe it. But yeah, it stars Humphrey Bogart.
And that was kind of a star vehicle for him. I mean, after that, he was Humphrey Bogart. I mean, he was commanding much bigger salaries after that film.
Yeah.
He was about 40, 41, I think, when he did that film.
I mean, he did films prior to that. Sure. But this catapulted him to, a lot of the other film noir type crime adventure type films that he would become famous for, like The Big Sleep, another great one, Casablanca. There's so many movies. The list goes on and on and on. But this is the movie, really, that catapulted him. And I'm not going to say Peter Lorre because he was there in the early '30s, silent stuff.
Yeah, he did silent films, German expressionism films first, but he's in a ton of movies that we like.
Yeah, Peter Lorre.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He's in a couple of Roger Corman, Vincent Price, Edgar Allan Poe movies.
Well, he was in one of. See, I was going to, and we'll talk about it. I was going to work my way into what else Peter Lorre was in that, and I'll get to it.
Sorry,
because
there's excited.
There's so many crime.
But M is a great movie.
Crime
He's a
elements.
Child killer on the run.
Yes.
That film. That's
for the horror fans. But I hope you guys stick around and listen to some of the stuff we got to say about the movie and about a lot of this film noir type stuff because. So interesting. But John Huston, too, man, a womanizer in Hollywood, right?
Maybe. Oh, and he also directed Moby Dick from 1956, one of my favorite movies, with Gregory Peck, probably the best Moby Dick adaptation there's ever been. I used to watch it when it would be on Channel 43, like on Sunday afternoons. I love that movie. Yeah. It was filmed in such a way, I don't know if you've ever seen it, that it almost looks like a painting. It's done with these very odd type of colors. You'd have to see it to know what I'm talking about, but maybe some of you have seen it. But anyway, I mean...
Humphrey Bogart also, before this, you said this kind of catapulted him, but there was another film prior to this that kind of was just as big as the Maltese Falcon. Same kind of, not film noir, but crime, early 30s, Angels with Dirty Faces.
Oh my God, yes.
With James Cagney.
Does that need a Blu-ray or what?
There isn't a Blu-ray of that.
There is not.
How can there not be a Blu-ray of Angels with Dirty Faces?
Criminal.
Starring James Cagney, one of the greatest gangsters.
Nothing like those old gangster pictures.
James Cagney, Edward G. Robinson, Humphrey Bogart. Just to name three right off the top. Those were the three big famous guys. But Robinson, Edward G. Robinson, and James Cagney back in the day, during the 30s, that was their gig, the gangster films,
White
man.
Heat, Little Caesar,
Roaring
20s, that had Humphrey Bogart in it too. That's a really good one.
Yep. So,
but Angels with Dirty Faces is top tier.
Oh yeah, these films that we just mentioned here. I mean, if you're a film buff, if you've loved the old gangster type movies and stuff like that, if Scarface, the newer ones in your collection, well, first of all,
watch the OG with
watch
Paul
these.
Mooney.
Oh, I told them.
Or what was that his name? Paul Mooney? I can't remember his name.
I can't remember. I think so. Jackie Gleason was in there from The Honeymooners, if you know who that is.
Boris Karloff's actually in the original Scarface. Right. Just a little walk-on part, but he's in it.
Right. But yeah, it was the gangster films during the 30s, and slowly in 1941, kind of. You can call some of the older movies in the 30s film noir, but
it was a certain style.
Yeah, film noir.
Very dark, smoky,
atmospheric. Just picture a picture, okay? Like a Polaroid or whatever you would take it. Just a picture with curtains in the background blowing, a little dresser with an ashtray on there.
Lots of smoking.
Little telephone. That's the ambiance of and a gun. And that's the you know what? You got to put in the background a little femme fatale pinup.
There has to be a femme fatale.
So
and there's also
that's the look and the feel of film noir.
Film noir also is known for having some overt, there's some underlying sexual and violent tones to it.
Right.
They couldn't show you these things.
Yeah.
But for instance, there's definitely some sexual undertones in Maltese Falcon, both hetero and homosexual in it. Yeah. You just got to kind of know what to look for. And
but
in film noir, those things are usually in there. They're a little bit more gritty than, say, the average crime drama or gangster picture.
Yeah, as was a lot of the Pulp Fiction, which were kind of film noir novels that you would get back in the day. They were cheap little, dime store type, paperbacks that, the public would go get.
Or little magazines sometimes.
Yeah.
They had, crime ones, science fiction ones, horror ones. Those are where, say, like Edgar Rice Burroughs and H.G. Wells, they had stories published and things like that, back in the day. So.
But the 40s, quintessential film noir. It went into the early 50s, but then started dying out soon after that.
And now every time something comes out that's a little gritty, they like to call it a noir film.
It's kind of caught on now.
I mean, they try to call Blade Runner, a noir film. And maybe it is to an extent.
An 80s film noir. I mean,
futuristic noir, future noir, I guess.
Yeah,
if that's a new subcategory. And it does fit it to some extent.
Yeah,
yes.
I think so, yeah. I mean,
different he sort of is a
generation,
Sam Spade of the future. Well, actually, Blade Runner takes place in 2019, so
we'll get into a lot of other things, but yeah,
we have no replicants.
Right.
I'm disappointed now.
But the Maltese Falcon, I should, and I do got references here just because
based on the novel by Dashiell Hammett, who was actually had background in detective work. I don't know if you read up on him, but he was one of the Pinkerton boys, the Pinkerton detective.
Good old Pinkerton. Yep,
very famous detective agency, and
going way back to the West.
Some of these characters are actually based on people that he chased down, people that he encountered. Switched up a little bit here and there, but these are based on characters that mostly the bad guys in the femme fatale.
Yeah.
Sam Spade is based on what every Pinkerton guy
Private Dick
thought they were. Yeah. They all thought they were this guy.
Yeah.
So. And this is actually, even though it's 1941, this is actually the third time that book, which was published in 1930, had been adapted. It was adapted, The Maltese Falcon, in 1931. Several years later is a film called Satan Met a Lady.
Okay.
And then finally, they were going to change the name, but they wanted to keep the name. So then The Maltese Falcon, 1941. So talking about remakes and reboots. You know,
three of them right there.
It goes back. And in 10 years, a movie been made 3 times.
Yeah. But this is the best. And
yes.
And it stars Humphrey Bogart again. Well, it's a private detective, who... again, I'm sorry, I got to slow down because I love these 40s movies I'm a big fan of detective movies, crime movies, and the detectives of the 1940s and even 30s. It started with Sherlock Holmes, Charlie Chan, The Falcon is another one, Mr. Moto, which was done by Peter Lorre.
Yes, he did.
I believe 4 times. I think there's 4 movies. I'm trying to remember. I got them in my collection, so they're there. But he plays Mr. Moto tremendously. But we'll talk about that a little bit down the road here. I'm just trying to get you to the point of me loving a lot of these detective films and working our way up to Philip Marlowe, who technically, Humphrey Bogart plays Philip Marlowe in The Big Sleep.
Yes.
Another detective of the day in the 40s. But in this one, he plays Sam
films
Spade.
He did with his wife, future wife, Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Some really good
Who was
films
also in
together.
Casablanca with them. And a lot of these people were in Casablanca, too. Peter Lorre was in Casablanca, and so was... who was the guy? Greenstreet. Sidney Greenstreet was in there too. Who he plays. Okay, see, I'm jumping all over the place. When I love something, I jump all over the place. Let me just say real quick the synopsis, because it tells you kind of what it's. A private detective takes on a case that involves him with 3 eccentric criminals, a gorgeous liar, and their guest for a priceless quest for a priceless statue, the Maltese Falcon,
which ends up being the biggest MacGuffin.
Right? Yeah.
You know, it's this
well,
thing.
don't give away. Yeah.
No, right.
Whatever. I guess we go. But it stars Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade. Mary Astor is basically the liar, the femme fatale, the girl, the guy he
shows up in his office, in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, it's Sam Spade and Miles Archer. They're partners. They work together.
Yeah.
And she shows up in the office one day, and her story is something like she's trying to find her sister, who's run off with this guy named Thursby. He's a real bad dude.
Thursby.
And she doesn't know what he does. She doesn't know where he is, but she hasn't heard from him. It's not like her sister.
Yeah.
And she somehow thinks that her sister's being held by this guy against her will. Wants these private dicks to bust her away from, reunite them.
But Archer and Spade, she gives them $200 for this, and Archer and Spade catch on right away that there's something fishy about this. But you know what? Hey, lady,
it's a little bit too much money to give for.
And this is the way, like they would look down at the femme fatale. In these films, there was a lot of what would you call that? Like,
it's not misogyny, but
okay, a little bit, but
Humphrey Bogart,
there's that type
he's
of
got
thing,
a very hard exterior.
He does,
and
he does.
Doesn't trust hardly anybody.
Right.
I mean, you could probably maybe 2-3 people in this movie that he might trust.
Yeah, you would call him cold-hearted, and one of them is Iva Archer, who plays the secretary, who's played by Gladys George.
Well, Effie was the secretary. Iva Archer was Miles's wife.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting the names.
No. Yeah.
So
it starts off Fast and Furious. Sorry.
And that's the thing. This movie was meticulously planned out, storyboarded to the second.
Yeah, because Miles Archer and Thursby both they're the 2 people that end up dying.
So she knows the hotel.
Yeah.
And so Bogart, Sam Spade, says, we'll have a man on it. He has Miles, Tatum.
We're going to man on it.
And Miles is a seasoned detective. He knows what he's doing. They both know what they're doing.
His partner.
The very next, but at the same time, he's got a little bit of the hots for her, too.
Right.
You know, he doesn't make any bones like, oh man, he
Oh, he kisses her kind of when she comes in after he's dead.
Yeah.
And you could tell they've had an affair going on, you know. So,
but
again,
well, what I mean is
stuff,
Sam Spade's partner thinks that. Well, she gives a fake name at first. She says her name is Wonderly.
Yeah.
You know, Mrs. Wonderly. That's not her real name. And you could tell that Miles is, you know, he's catting around, you know. But then the very next scene, you just see someone in a dark overcoat pull out a gun and blast Miles away.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be tailing this Thursby guy. We don't know who killed him, but we know he gets shot, breaks through a fence, and rolls down the hill. And he's dead.
Yeah. And the cinematography in this film, and a lot of the film noir films, very cool angles.
A lot of it is shown over Bogart's shoulder, so you kind of get his point of view.
Right.
And you don't really.
Everything about this film is great.
There's even like the epic 7-minute take. You know, 7 minutes uninterrupted, just acting for 7 minutes without the camera moving. Yeah. And, you know, you screw up once, got to do it again. That's later on in the film, though. But.
And Sam Spade's character, I mean, this movie from start to finish never stops.
No, everything is essential.
It's a train going 100 miles an hour nonstop to the very end.
But that's the thing about movies back then. A lot of times they were just really tight.
Yeah.
You know, everything was essential to plot and story.
But even the lines
now we get much bigger, bloated films now.
Oh, right, of course.
I mean,
you make it 3 hours long.
Exactly. I mean, you could watch a movie like that, and there's very few. There's a few. There's a handful. But a lot of those films, you know, you could trim them down a bit. You know,
of course. Yeah. And Sam Spade's character, he is just so on everything. You watch this movie and watch his character, and you go, I mean, how is he dissecting everything so quickly, so fast?
Because he knows he's a student of people. You know, he knows.
Yeah. And that's
people.
The thing about this movie, the Maltese Falcon in particular. It has you guessing, wondering, you know, who's the killer, who's this, who's involved. You know, what's around the corner? What's next?
You know, is Bogart's character really buying that? Is he?
Is he not?
You know, is he really falling for her? Or,
is he playing her? Is he?
Right.
But
and you don't know till the end.
Every second till the very end of the movie that's going on, and it's just like it's just unbelievable, man. But
fantastic.
Yeah.
So Sam Spade gets called at home. He's informed that I'm not sure who calls him, if it's the police or his secretary or whatever. I think it's the police or whatever. That Miles is dead. Shot, dead.
Well, they know it's his partner, so they immediately...
So they figure they're working a case. They call him out there. He doesn't even go down to look at the body. He's just like, it's just...
Which is interested...
It's a little interesting that he didn't want to go down there and look.
Well, to the police, too.
But the cop that he's talking to is a cop. They're kind of friends. And historically, and I don't know about real life, because I don't know any private detectives.
Right.
But when you watch films, and this... You know, it seems like the police department and private detectives never really get along.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the private detectives sort of they sort of circumnavigate the law.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder if the police officer is just a little bit jealous because the private eye can do a few things that
that's what
the cops can't do.
Let me interject real quick there, because that's a big deal with a lot of these films back in the day, and detectives, like even Sherlock Holmes. Like, no matter... the fact that they can solve any crime, they come up with clues that the police always overlook. Somehow the police want to always, you know, get the detective on the murder.
Right.
Somehow you're involved.
Or just think of Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the cops that don't like Batman killed the guy or whatever.
Same thing. Yeah.
Exact same kind of concept.
Yeah. But they happen a lot in all of these movies, whether it be crime or film noir. It's always the detective getting mixed up in things, and they're always blaming them, the private dick, for the murder. Yeah. And
there always seems to be one cop who's the good friend of them and help him out a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's this guy Tom. Yeah. Who's the one who's told him everything happens, and Bogart just says, if that's what you saw, I'm not going to see anything. I'm not going to see anything different if that's what you already saw. So.
Oh yeah, the conversation back and forth between those two. I mean, the cockiness, the attitude, the ego. It's just, and the bravado.
Yes.
Of the men of the 40s. Like,
before he goes to look at the crime scene, he calls the secretary, name's Effie. She's a little secretary of the office, keeps the office running.
Effie, yeah, it's not
cute little blonde.
Iva.
And he tells her, he's talking about, you go tell, Miles, his wife, he's like, do me a favor, keep her away from me. And we're going to find out a little bit why later on, but there's a reason why you don't want nothing to do with her. So, let's see. So, Bogart goes home. Or no, wait, he goes to make a phone call. He goes to call this Ms. Wonderly, kind of update her on what's been going on. Because they find out Thursby's dead as well.
Right.
He's had a slug put in. God, I'm talking just like these guys. He's had a slug put
got
into
a slug
him.
in him, yeah.
And
there's words they used in there that a couple of them, I'm like, I never even heard that word before. And I've seen this movie plenty of times, but when you sit there and you're dissecting every word and stuff like that, I'm like going, what the hell's that word mean? But anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
The way they talked was just so cool. So it finds out that both guys are dead. So he was going to call her. No answer at the hotel. She ain't there. So he goes back to his place thinking, well, I made $200.
Well, didn't she check out?
Yeah,
Bridget O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah, you'll find out that's her real name, Bridget O'Shaughnessy.
Right.
But not too long after he gets home, I don't know if he's a detective or just he's not a flatfoot police officer, so I'm figuring he's a detective and a lieutenant, Tom, whatever. And this lieutenant show up at his door, and they start, especially that other guy, not Tom, but the other guy starts giving him the business about, you had the motive, you had the opportunity, you rubbed him out, and, you rubbed out Thursby too.
Rubbed him out, say.
And I love when Bogart says to Tom,
you were there, say.
He says to the detective Tom, he's like, Tom, what's going on with your boyfriend over here? First little gay joke there, and that's what it's meant to be.
Did we jump over the introduction of Joe Cairo?
No, not yet. Not yet. He comes later.
Okay, so that was just okay. Okay. Nope. Go ahead.
This is just when the groundwork's being laid down for what's going to happen the rest of the movie, where Bogart's character is, he's this close to being the fall guy for these murders because they don't have anybody else to wrap it on, and at the same time, he's not giving up his there's like client privilege. Yeah. He's not giving up the name yet, because he's still on a job. So, he's later going to call his lawyer to make sure his lawyer's aware of all this crap.
Doctor-patient confidentiality.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Lawyer, attorney.
No, I know. Yeah.
Confidentiality.
Yeah.
If you want to tell me some of your secrets. They give him the business a bit, and he ends up, they want to search his place. He's like, tear it apart. What do I care? As long as you got a warrant. Right. I love that.
No. Oh, no. Yeah. He was straightforward and would tease a little bit and then just
when he says that to Tom, hey Tom, what kind of beef's your boyfriend got over here? I mean, he's not.
And the look in the eye of the other guy,
because he's not afraid to bust him in the chops a little bit.
Yeah, because he knows he's not in no wrong. He hasn't done anything.
And I got to tell you, there are probably more cigarettes smoked in this movie than any other movie I've seen in my life.
Let me tell you. Well,
I know
you've seen a lot of black and white movies.
That lighter that they use, I forgot what that kind of thing. You take these wooden matches and you just push it in and it lights it up. That thing looks so cool.
Oh, the old cigarette lighters back in the 30s and 40s.
These are very collectible.
Oh, hell yeah!
And there's one company still in the United States that will manufacture the parts and help repair these things because they are very collectible and very popular. And there's still one company out here in the States somewhere that can work on these things.
But a lot of them are ornate, big, with just one little, you would pull the sticks out of the side and just, it rubs on the side of the, rough edge on there, and you just, and it lights up the match, and you can put it back out.
Did you read anything about the smoking in the movie? I was looking up some info.
Let me know if you found.
No, just
I know back in the day. I mean, that's just the way.
Smoked.
Yeah, that's the way it was.
But Jack Warner, one of the heads of Warner Brothers, had told John Huston that
free cigarettes for everybody on the set.
He didn't really want there to be, and he did not like smoking in his pictures because he thought it would make the audience crave a cigarette, go outside and go smoke, and not watch the movie.
I didn't read that.
And so when he was watching the rushes of this movie, he'd be like, "You're killing me. You're killing me. All they're doing is smoking." But
there goes the crowd.
John Huston made the point that it actually takes away from the characters He's like, of course they're, when they're waiting for someone to show up, they're going to be smoking.
Yeah.
It actually takes away.
Right.
And by God, as much as I hate smoking, I mean, it made sense. But I'm just glad I didn't have to be sitting in a room with Humphrey Bogart. I mean, just
it's
as he chain smokes throughout this entire picture.
Hey, it got a lot of guys back in the day, man. But because they would
Bogart.
They would.
That's what he died of.
Yeah.
Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Got him too.
Well, frick.
Peter Cushing. Got him
Ted
too.
Back in the 40s, they would hand out cigarettes free
to the kids. Hey, you got kids.
No, because they knew the companies. They would hand them out in clubs, and especially the military. Mm-hmm. They would hand them out boxes because they knew they would get addicted, and once out, they would then start buying and buying and buying and buying. So it was a great ploy by the cigarette companies back in the day.
Cigarettes.
And the old ads back. Another thing, Sam Spade. Let me talk real quick about a lot of, if you do dig these kind of things, if you haven't been into old-time radio shows.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They were audio dramas put on the radio back in the day for people who couldn't afford TVs. Or
before there was TVs, there were radio
Or before
dramas.
there were TVs, yeah.
That was the entertainment.
Yeah,
Ralphie in Christmas Story.
Yeah.
You'd sit there and listen to the radio.
Exactly. They would take, even the Maltese Falcon. The Maltese Falcon was filmed, or
dramatized for the radio.
Dramatized and recorded like Campbell's Playhouse Theater, ABC. There was a ton of them that recorded their own movies for the radio. So technically, it should be pretty much the same movie, but there are little nuances if you listen to them that are different because they're saying the lines differently. They're not performing in front of a camera.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. Go back if you're not interested, or if you haven't heard of the old time radio shows, look them up, and
they're out there for practically free. I think.
Yeah,
you can find them,
and they're just. It's a wonderful thing to get into in a hobby once you find out they're out there.
And most of those old actors you like, Vincent Price or Peter Cushing, if you're into those horror films like me, they did it too. They did radio. Any actor you could think of that had a really
Humphrey Bogart
cool voice.
Yeah,
they did it.
Peter Lorre,
Orson Welles.
Yep. Orson Welles had his
War of the Worlds.
He had his own Playhouse Theater with Orson Welles. It went on for years. I mean, he did his radio dramas. A lot of the movies that he would do would be played on the old time radio show. Anyways, veered off a little bit, but where were we at? We got to get introduced to Joe Cairo here.
Those cops just left. And after that happens, it's like the next day, I think, he goes back to the office. And sure as hell, Miles Archer's wife's going to show up. Her name's Iva. I don't know, and I could not find in any synopsis or any information if they actually had an affair, if Sam Spade and his partner, Miles' wife, had an affair. But she certainly seems very lovey on him.
Oh, and she jumps right up and kisses him.
She almost thinks...
Don't they kiss?
She kisses him.
Yeah.
He doesn't kiss her super passionately though.
But enough to where they've been doing it.
Did you do it? Did you kill him? Like maybe he killed her so that he could have her.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really seem to want anything to do with her. I don't know if I take away that they actually had an affair or if it's just...
I took away that they did, so I guess it's...
I wondered... and that's kind of maybe one of the shortcomings of the film a little bit. I mean, like I said, it's very tight. Sometimes you got to read in a little bit of what's going on. So they very well could have. And it gives you that impression without coming right out and saying.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. And I love how soon after that, what's her name comes in? Effie, his secretary. And he immediately starts... I mean, his partner just died. And he's going... let's get Archer off the windows
the next day
in the door.
And Samuel Spade.
Yeah, let's just Samuel Spade.
Well, no time like the present.
So he replaces all that, right away. And that's what I'm talking about with cold-hearted. He seems a bit cold-hearted, but hey, that's the mean streets of whatever.
San Francisco. Takes place 1940. Then I believe he gets a call from Ms. Wonderly, who's not actually Ms. Wonderly, and she's at another hotel, whatever, and he's going to go there and kind of straighten her out a little bit on a few things.
He's going to straighten her out, all right.
He's trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. Obviously, she lied about everything.
Right. She's playing this pitiful character who's,
and he'll let her do it. Yeah. He lets her say that, and he'll just stop and go, yeah, you're real good. You're real good. That little quiver you get in your throat is what does it. And then she gets all indignant because chicks get real pissed when you call them out when they're trying to pull their wiles and you call them out.
Yeah, and she starts picking things up and moving and lights her cigarette. And he goes, "What are you gonna move around a bit again and
you're gonna move around, clean the apartment again?"
Yeah, and she goes, "Oh no," because she's trying to hide her real intentions and who she really is, and
she's not really giving. He knows her name. Yeah, she kind of Thursby was after her. She was the one who was afraid, and she not once has she really given him the straight story.
No,
and it's frustrating as all hell to him. Yeah. But at the same time, he's going to still stay on the case, try to find out who killed his partner, because he does at least owe his partner that.
Oh, if anything, he's got motive. He may seem like he's not trying to solve things because he's eventually starts going after the
because his ass is on the hot seat right now. The cops aren't leaving him alone. They're going to come back again. The DA is going to come out. They're not leaving him alone.
He's putting it all in his head. They're
going to pin it on somebody.
Yeah, figuring it out. And by the end of the movie, he's got it all laid out.
And that's another reason why he probably wanted Iva, Miles' wife, to stay away from him.
Yeah.
If the cops are watching him and sees her coming around, there's the motive right there. So, you got to read that sort of into the movie.
Yeah, there's a spot where she's hiding. He comes back to the office
a little bit later.
Yeah. And she's hiding in the next doorway, and
she's trying to screw up his game.
Yeah.
So Sam takes he's like, how much dough do you have? And she's like, $500. Give it to me.
At the apartment, he's telling her this.
And he's like, there's only 4. She's like, well, I need something to live on. Like, don't you have any jewelry or furs? I said, yeah. All right, you're gonna have to hock them. He's such a bastard.
It takes the 100 and he gives her something.
Yeah, he probably gives her like $7.
I'm like, man,
you're gonna have to hock them.
What a cold-hearted asshole. But hey,
well, see,
he knows she's being
under the guise of helping her. He's trying to find out what's going on. Who killed his partner?
But
he does have a great monologue later in the film.
Right.
About when somebody whether you liked him or not, he's your partner, and you got to do something about it.
Yeah.
You can't just let that go. It's bad for. It's bad for business. Who's going to hire a detective agency where the guy's partner gets killed and they never catch the killer?
Yeah.
Is that the detective you would go to? So
right.
He's looking out for number one.
Oh yeah, he's on a mission. He's on a mission. And let's get to the great
back to his office. Who's gonna knock on the door?
Peter Lorre comes in.
Joe
Cairo.
Is it Joe Cairo or Joel?
Joe Cairo.
Joe Cairo.
J-O-E. Joe Cairo.
Of course, that says Joel.
No. Okay, well, same difference.
Joel Cairo.
Joel.
Peter Lorre. With that, Cairo. Do the voice.
Peter Lorre. So I'm Joe Cairo. Anyways, I wish I could hear it. I'm better at it when I hear it.
You do it really well.
I was speaking.
I can't do it.
I was speaking it while the movie was going. I'm going, spot on.
You do a good Peter Lorre, and he represents a party who is interested in a missing item. Now, Sam Spade hasn't heard anything about this Maltese Falcon yet. Yeah. He doesn't know anything about it.
No.
But he says that
characters are introduced that are after the ssame thing, but you don't know it yet.
You don't know what it is yet. And he's telling him that, Thursby had, he's like, do you happen to have, Thursby had, an item that, my benefactor was very interested in procuring. Do you have it? And he doesn't know anything about it, but he's trying to keep his cool. At the same time, he's like, because I'm prepared to pay you $5,000 for its retrieval.
Yeah.
So now he knows there's something. He's starting to put it all. Everybody's after whatever this is.
Yeah. So he offers him the $5,000, and as soon as
Oh, but we have to say, in the
go.
book,
Go.
Joel Cairo is homosexual. It's plainly stated.
Right.
Now, they can't do that in this movie, so...
Oh,
but he is very effeminate. Not only the way he speaks, but...
there's words he says, and there's actions he does.
He's very particular about his clothes. You know, his cologne, his card, his business card smells like gardenia. You know, he carries a cane, and he is constantly just making little stroking motions on it. Little things that if you're paying attention, you read in between the lines, and you can tell what's going on in the film there. And, you know, he doesn't like to get mussed up when he gets smacked a little bit here and there. But then we're going to talk about...
He says something, too, that alludes to...
I can't remember like
his sexuality, but I can't remember. It's right during that scene. If somebody knows it, put it in the comments. But you know,
they don't know it.
I know.
But then we get to like my favorite part of the movie.
Oh my god! Because
it's so funny.
Because Humphrey Bogart turns around and Joel Cairo pulls out his pistol and tells them,
you know, I'm going to search you and this office, because he thinks that item might be there.
Yeah.
And there's a little scuffle.
Ow! I just hit my balls.
Without any problem, Sam gets the gun away from Joel.
Yeah. He's like, boom, 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 boom.
You know, grabs him by the shirt there a little bit. You know, what do you think you're doing? And
he's a weasel.
Exactly.
Peter Lorre is a weasel.
All this back and forth, and then, you know, finally...
Trying to be tough.
You know, okay, they're cool, they're copacetic. And, you know, Joel's getting ready to leave, and he's like, may I have my gun back, please? He gives it to him, and he immediately, all right, put your hands up. I'm going to search this. And Bogart, he just puts his hands like, all right, go ahead. And he's laughing his ass off. I mean, just the fact he did it again.
He thought he'd get away with it again.
And he lets it do. He's like, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, have at it.
And you know what the funny thing is?
He's not worried at all.
It looks like a real... It doesn't even look like an acting kind of laugh. It looks like a real, genuine laugh. And you come to find later
From Humphrey Bogart,
if you read about these guys later on, Humphrey Bogart, Peter Lorre, John Huston, all became really great friends. That would hang out, and it probably didn't hurt that all of them could, you know, drink each other under the table. But that's eventually what killed Peter Lorre, unfortunately.
Cirrhosis of the liver.
Yeah, man could drink like a fish. But, you know, you get that feeling there. Like, that's just a real genuine laugh. So they don't show him searching, but obviously he did. It's not there. He goes.
And the slap scene is later, and when they're all in the.
Oh yeah, I sent him a GIF earlier of just. There's a GIF online of just like Humphrey Bogart just bitch slapping Peter.
Hopefully,
Lorre.
I can put it at the beginning of the video. Hopefully, you've seen it at the beginning of the video.
He says something like, you know, when I slap you, you'll take it and you'll like it. You'll take it and you'll like it.
You'll take it and you like it. And Peter Lorre's like. Yeah, and
I'm going to use that line on my wife.
Blood on his
You'll take it and you'll like it.
Yeah. Oh, he bitch slaps him. Oh, it's just so funny.
Nothing worse than one man slapping another man.
Oh my god.
I mean, punching, okay, you know, whatever, but slapping.
At this time, I know slapping's
That's
terrible.
Bitchified.
I'd rather be punched than slapped. But anyways, is this now? When he's in the office there, no, he wasn't being followed yet.
No, he's going to...
It's after that. Okay, go.
He's going to go meet up with...
I'll leave it to Ted for the tiny details.
O'Shaughnessy, again, and he notices that he's being followed. There's a young guy kind of following him around, long trench coat. Played by Elijah Cook, who's been in everything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even including Salem's Lot that we did ages ago, our 3-hour... You know, he's done every kind. He's been in Kubrick films. He's been in everything. The guy he was the last surviving cast member of the Maltese Falcon to die. He died in 1995 at like 91. Yeah. But he lived the longest out of all of them. Probably didn't smoke.
And you would recognize him probably by his face, his look alone.
Yep. I knew him right away.
Yeah.
His name isn't in the opening credits, but I knew him right away.
Right.
His name's Elijah Cook Jr.
And isn't this his first film out of film school? I think.
I don't know if Elijah Cook went to film school.
I could have sworn that's
everybody
what
just
happened.
sort of got a job if you were photogenic.
If you were photogenic.
I don't know if if
Let me look.
if it was his first job or not.
Okay, it wasn't. That's why he was doing films all the way back from 1930 and all the way up to
right when he died.
Yeah, 1988.
That's the last thing on there?
Magnum PI.
Oh, get out of here. There's got to be something later.
No, that's the last one, bud.
Oh,
Alf. He started doing a lot of TV shows.
Well, he's done everything. And when you watch this film and you see him, you'll recognize him.
Oh, yeah.
You might know him from the old Salem's Lot movie, but he's been in tons.
Well, I'm not looking at his IMDb right now, but there were a lot of other, like, film noir. He was big until all those films.
He was in, The Killing, one of the early Stanley Kubrick films. A really good film noir about a racetrack heist. If you've never seen it, it's real good.
Oh, yeah, movie. The Stranger, definitely.
Yep. Real good movie.
Film noir, Stanley Kubrick. I mean, come on,
So he notices that guy's been following around all day.
Yeah. And his character, he plays Wilmer.
Yeah, his name's Wilmer.
Yeah. And, boy, just he wants to be that tough guy who's protecting and a bodyguard type. And we don't know who
he's working for yet.
He's just too pitiful. And which we'll come to find out. But, yeah, we don't know yet. We just know he's following them. And,
right.
Yeah.
So,
all the
Sam
characters
Spade
are coming together.
He's telling O'Shaughnessy, hey, oh, by the way, I talked to Joel Cairo earlier. And she's a little surprised. Oh, you know him? A little bit, and he's not giving his hand away. He's making it sound like he knows more than what he's saying, so that she'll spill the beans a little bit, and she does a little bit. And so he's like, "Yeah, he offered me $5,000 for it." Yeah. And so now she'll think he knows. But he don't know. And she's not exactly telling you. No one has mentioned Maltese Falcon.
Yeah.
There is a text at the beginning of the film that says that it was a gold jewel encrusted falcon that was given by the Knights Templar of Malta to whatever king it was, and it was stolen by pirates. This is all made up. None of this ever happened. I mean, there were the Knights Templar of Malta.
Yeah.
Okay, that actually,
but the
that part was actually true. There was no falcon. But and I don't even know if pirates existed at that time when they're talking, because a lot of the Knights Templar became pirates when they were hunted. But anyhow,
dissecting history.
I know. So
dissecting history.
So she's going to go back to Spade's apartment. Joel Cairo's going to meet them over there. They're going to hammer this out. As they're going, that young guy's still following. And then when they go up there, then we see Iva in the car looking. Yeah. And sure as shit, those cops are going to be, bump, 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 knocking on the door again.
On the beat.
And he tells them, I can't let you in. Yeah. Like, they want to come in. He's like, I can't let you in.
Meanwhile, Joel and
they've been hammering some things out beforehand, before the cops show up.
Yeah, talking, discussing things, but yeah, Bridget and Joel are in there, kind of. They're arguing. They're bickering. They're arguing, and then as he's at the door,
this is the scene where Bogey gives him that slap.
Right.
Because he's trying some shit, and he's when I slap you, you'll take it and you'll like it.
But I love it that he says you can't come in, and then immediately you hear evidently
it's Peter Lorre screaming like a girl.
Yeah, Bridget
she's whooping his ass.
Yeah, busted his head open or something,
and they're like, and
he goes, well, yep, I guess now you got to come in.
Yeah, they say, I guess we're coming in. He's like, I guess you are.
Yeah.
Because he don't know what's going on either.
So it was kind of funny.
Little scuffle.
And the whole scene that we get the bitch slap in there and stuff like that.
And even that other detective, not Tom, the one that he's friends with, that other detective even gives, Bogart a good chuck in the chin, for some of the banter back and forth.
Yeah.
And because he's really wanting to pin it on him.
Right.
And, you could tell, man, because even Tom said, don't do it. Don't do it. Even though that guy deserves to get knocked on his ass.
He does.
But don't do it. Don't give him a reason.
Asshole. Yeah.
And...
But basically what ensues in his apartment now, Sam Spade's apartment, is the cops are just wondering what's going on, how's Thursby, he's trying to put everything together. But Sam Spade kind of, wiggles out of it and gives explanations for everything, and they buy it,
And in the conversation
so,
with Joel Cairo and Bridget O'Shaughnessy, we hear the name the Fat Man.
The Fat Man.
The Fat Man, because they mention the guy outside. Hey, that guy outside, because Joel's the one who says it. There's a man watching in her apartment.
There's a man watching.
And he's like, he could be from the Fat Man.
Yeah, yeah, and you can see them go. Oh, the
Funny thing is, Joel. All of them are playing against each other. Yeah. Not one of these people are on the up and up.
It's like a crime, a mystery dinner mystery theater, like Who Killed Who. They're all looking out of the corner of the eye, like whose move is next. It's so.
And
cool.
We're gonna find out that Iva's the one that called the cops because she's a little jealous of what's going on. And she's like, I wanted to hurt you. Get out of here. I think she comes to the office the next day and says that.
Bitch.
Then he's gonna get Sam's gonna get called downtown to the DA's office. Downtown to the DA's office where they're gonna question him a little bit. And I love when he goes off on him. He says something to the effect, when this happened, I knew the only way I was gonna get myself out, of this trouble is by, giving you the real killers all tied up nice and neat. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if I stay away from you guys. And if you stay away from me, and he's going and going. And he looks at the stenographer and says, are you getting all this, son, or am I going too fast for you? Because they're taking, it's a legal document. And he looks at, am I going too fast for you, son? Are you getting all this?
Oh, you know what?
But basically he's saying, the only way I'm going to do this is if you guys stay out of my way.
Yeah.
You stay out of my way, I'm going to tie this up for you.
Right.
He's like, because you guys will just bungle it up.
Oh, the wit is just, I
and
love
that's
it,
just
man.
like what you would see in Batman, like when, when he's checking out the crime scene, he's like, let me check the crime scene before your officer's tainted. Or
a lot of the old Batman novels, comics, it had that kind of film noir kind of feel to it too. Not so much the
There's
movies,
even been series called Batman Noir where, it's gritty, black and white.
Right, that's right.
And those are some of the best Batman stories were those detective stories.
Yeah.
I always preferred the detective stories over, the big blustery superhero.
Right.
That's,
interesting.
That's his superpower right there.
I'm not a big comic person.
No,
so
I don't even read them anymore.
Yeah. But that's
I mean, some of the old ones that I used to have, oh God, you remember, I used to have tons of comic books. Yeah. Got rid of just about all of them. A few that are valuable I kept. And then just the series that I think that are just really top notch, in my opinion. Those are the only ones I've kept.
Yeah.
And mostly now I have them in like the nice hardcover omnibus ones, and I've gotten rid of the floppies. Now it's just ridiculous. I don't know how people can afford them. They're like $4 a piece. And,
oh, jeez.
It takes you 8 minutes to read it. And,
8 minutes to read it.
Well, it's just ridiculous for the amount of money that. If you look at the ones that used to come out, like when we were kids, or even when our parents were kids, and they were a dime. I've got some old Peanuts ones. It take you half an hour to read it because there's just so much in there. Or some of the Disney ones, like the ones that Carl Barks did. It's a whole big adventure story. It take you forever to read it.
Yeah.
But whatever. Comics.
Oh, well. So where are we at? Are we?
He finished with the DA.
Did the guy come in yet with the? Is that the next scene?
Well,
guy stumbles in with the Falcon, or no?
He knows that he knows that he's being followed. So he's going to O'Shaughnessy's hotel. She's in a different hotel now, and he must know like the head of security there because he goes up. When he goes in there, he sees the guy sitting there.
Yeah,
he sees
Wilmer.
The guy who's been following him. Don't know his name yet, but his name is Wilmer.
Yeah,
sitting there, and he goes up to the security guard. He's talking to him a little bit, and when he gets him over there, he's like, "Hey, how come you let punks like this with heaters in their pocket, or heaters bulging out of their coats over here?" And because Bogart actually tries talking to him a little bit, it's like, "Yeah, hey, why don't you tell the fat man I said hello?" Because he knows.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Go blow, go blow out of here. You're cruising me."
He's
the guy
constantly
seems really unstable. There's even one part where you see tears coming out of his eyes a little bit towards the end there.
Yeah, his character
He's so angry and wants to kill him.
Yeah, he's got a mental state, something going on, and his character...
Yeah, he needs a checkup from the neck up.
His character's pitiful, and boy, he doesn't take no shit from... he'd probably blow him away right away.
He would, yeah.
He's constantly
saying, Fat Man's got that leash on him.
Don't push me. You know, he's like,
don't push me.
But he says it in a very, don't push me. You know, you can barely hear him. But
yeah, so, tell the Fat Man, whatever, give him a message. Yeah. So later on in the film, then is that guy's going to show Wilmer and say, hey. He's going to meet him at outside of his apartment. Hey, the Fat Man wants to see you. Come on. Yeah. And now we're going to meet Casper Gutman. What a name. Gutman.
Gutman, yeah.
This guy is
big fat guy
huge.
And
this was his first movie.
Sidney Greenstreet, his very first role.
He was a stage actor prior to that.
Yeah.
And the guy's pushing 300 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
Easy.
Big guy.
I even read that they had to make the furniture special for him. He's just a big guy.
Little older, too. And he wasn't in too many films afterwards.
No, just mostly a stage actor, but they needed somebody big. And
he played the role well. Yeah.
They had to look around. They had to find people, A lot of the actors in this movie weren't the first choices. I think Peter Lorre was a first choice. Yeah. Humphrey Bogart wasn't. Certainly the actress, I forgot her name. What's her name?
Mary Astor.
Mary Astor was not. She's actually a pretty scandalous figure in Hollywood.
Yeah.
All kinds of affairs and sexy diaries that got loose during divorce trials and stuff like that.
She made the rounds with a lot of the actors of the time period.
She catted around a bit, so she fits perfect in this movie just for that reason. I mean, man, a femme fatale right there.
Yeah. And 10 years prior, she looked
a lot better.
Yeah, a lot better. But,
she's starting to show that, and that's part of it there too, because she's just starting to show that
the
age a little bit, and so is he. The miles.
You mean Humphrey?
Yeah, the miles are starting to show
Humphrey
on
Bogart,
the face.
He showed the miles from the very beginning.
Yeah,
but
he was born with miles on his face.
He's one of those guys that looked like he was 40 when he was 20.
And throughout the whole picture, he's doing this thing with his face, and he does it in other movies. He's just like that grimace, like he's getting a gas pain every once in a while.
You want another fantastic film with Humphrey Bogart and Audrey Hepburn, Sabrina.
If
you've never seen it, and
that was remade with Harrison Ford ages later.
Right. But if you don't mind if you like,
that's like a romantic comedy, isn't it?
Yeah. Comedy, there's a little bit of that in there, but more romantic. But just Humphrey Bogart, Audrey Hepburn. It's just the movie's fantastic. You would listen to me and go, a romantic drama or comedy from the, I think it was 1950.
It was later on, yeah. It was later.
So, but fantastic movie.
It's just these actors, and then they would get paired up. Bogart and Lauren Bacall, or Bogart and Audrey Hepburn did a few movies, and there would be these teams in Hollywood back then. Rogers and Astaire, I mean, just things like that, and they would do these groups of films together, and it was cool because you'd get that good chemistry, and as long as you had a kick-ass story, then it was all cool. So
Audrey Hepburn, she had a few films there in the. Starting with Breakfast at Tiffany's. I mean, Jesus, man, is that a good film or what? And that's where I fell in love with Audrey Hepburn in that film, man.
What about Breakfast at Tiffany's?
and I had to get each and every movie after, but the later they went, the worse they got. But oh Lord! So where are we at? This is gonna be a long one, guys.
Yeah. Anyway. So he goes up to see Gutman. Meets Gutman for the first time.
Come on in.
Gutman's a big blustery, big guy. Have a drink. And all right, Sam Spade's the kind of guy that could probably put away half a bottle of liquor a day. Yeah. I mean, smoking and drinking is all that he does.
Have a drink.
You never saw him eat anything.
Have a cigar.
Yeah, gives him a drink, gives him a cigar.
Sit down.
Have a seat, and he's a little reluctant to give up.
Gutman gets up and fills his drink 3 times.
Yeah.
And they said that was real. That was real liquor.
Of course, it was real liquor. What do you think they're going to drink? Apple juice? No way. Not bogey.
That's what.
Give me the hard stuff.
That's what. What's his name wanted from Warner Brothers.
That's right. He's lots of liquor.
No, he didn't want no cigarettes, and he wanted apple juice on the set.
Who put apple juice in my apple juice? That's what W.C. Fields used. He used to keep a pineapple juice bottle that had his liquor in it. Yeah. And one day somebody actually just switched out and gave him pineapple juice, and when he came out, that's what he yelled, "Who put pineapple juice in my pineapple juice?"
Because his pineapple juice wasn't really pineapple juice. Anyways, go on.
"Who put pineapple?"
So we're sitting in the room.
They're talking a bit, but at the same time, Gutman's not giving out a lot of information either. It's
There's
just
a
kind
lot of skirting the issue.
Yeah, he wants to size up Spade a little bit.
Yeah.
And so Sam's going to play it off at the end by just throwing a big fit at him, a big hissy fit.
You're rocking around a little bit there,
It's the chair, man. I need oil.
I'm going to have to oil that up. We had the same problem last week.
I know.
Yeah, sorry. Oh.
So by the end of the conversation, he feigns frustration and
faints. Yeah.
And storms out.
Yeah.
And and when I'm watching the film, I hadn't seen it for a few years. I'm like, man, he's getting really uptight.
Oh, yeah.
And then when he walks out, he's got that big smile on his face.
It's all an act. He knows what he's doing.
And he tells you're either in or you're out for good.
Yeah. And I like how every time Wilmer's kind of his bodyguard, Gutman's bodyguards, and he always tells him, you better get him in the other room or something like that, or I'll just take his pistols away from him.
Well, that's what happens next, because I'm not sure exactly. There's probably some little stuff in between, but basically,
we're not going to tell you every line of every
step by
movie,
step, but
step by
obviously, Wilmer meets him again and says, "All right,
how dare I sing a little
I know.
New Kids on the Block song?"
Says he wants to talk to you again.
Yeah,
goes up there. Obviously, okay. All right, maybe Spade's on the up and up now, and Gutman wants to talk to him again. As they're heading up there, Spade takes Wilmer's coat, jacks it down around his arm so he can't move his arm, and pulls out 2 heaters out of his pockets. Yeah. And when he opens the door, he's like, "Here, you might want to hang on to these. You might want to hang on to these for your boy." I mean, just completely emasculates him in front of him, and just don't push me, man.
And the breakdown starting. I mean, this dude's he's
wants
breaking
to
down,
rip
man.
him to shreds. And they're going to sit down, and he's going to tell him, this is the big epic 7-minute take that they talk about.
Yeah.
Where there's no break in the camera movement. Mm-hmm. It's all just pure acting and movement. And they sit down on the couch, pours Bogey a drink, gives him a cigar. He ain't really drinking the drink at first. Pours a little bit more in there, and finally a little more. Finally, Bogart starts drinking it.
The guy did deliver the package, though, by now. In between there,
he finds out what it is first. No. See, I know what you're thinking. No. This is right. The way
I'm getting a little confused
here. The way that I'm telling it is right.
Okay, go ahead.
And Gutman tells him the story of the Maltese Falcon. How it was lost, it was found, lost again, lacquered up with enamel to cover up the jewels and the gold, and how Gutman has been on a 17-year quest for this item, and was basically this close to getting it when it slipped through his fingers at in Istanbul, I believe.
Istanbul. Constantinople, in Istanbul.
And
Joel,
meanwhile,
I think is.
Hang on. Meanwhile, Bogey's drinking his drink and everything, and they never zoom in on the bottle to make you think that he's being drugged.
Right.
They don't do anything to make you think that Bogart's being slipped a Mickey. He goes to stand up, and it's whoa, and
right down.
He tries to get up. He starts knocking all of his shit down, and you realize, okay, obviously he's been drugged. Yeah. But before that, they don't give you any indication. Movies nowadays, they'll edit a scene to the bottle, so oh, okay, he's being, because you're not smart enough to figure it out yourself. But you actually are. Yeah. You just got to watch, the film. Yeah. And while he's down on the ground, Wilmer comes in there, and Joel comes out of the room too. And hot damn, they're all working together.
Yeah.
And Wilmer just boot to the head. Low blow, real dick move. The guy's already down, and you're gonna boot him to the head.
Well, it shows to his character. I mean, that's the character he's playing. I mean,
now we don't know where they're going yet. All right, and here's how we're gonna find out and get to the part you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. So
when Sam Spade finally comes to, he's in the apartment, Gutman's apartment. It's dark. Instead of leaving, he kind of starts plundering around a little bit, turning the place upside down, looking for any kind of clue he can. Picks up a newspaper looks at the newspaper and sees that someone has circled a schedule for a boat coming in. I forgot the name of the boat, but it's coming in and it's circled. So he figures,
you know, it says SS Falcon.
No, it's like Palermo or I don't know, some shit like that.
Okay.
But anyway, he figures, okay, maybe that's where they're going. That gives him the clue. So he goes down to the docks. Sure as shit, that boat is on fire.
Yeah.
And
damn it.
You know, he's told everybody got off okay, off the boat okay, nobody got killed.
Thank God. I was worried.
Goes back to his office. And this is where, you know, he's talking to his secretary, and this is where a guy just stumbles into the office. This ends up being the ship captain.
He's got a big overcoat on, a hat.
Right.
And
now, obviously, he's in the know a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was actually, I'm not sure who's the one who directed him to go there. I think it was probably Bridget O'Shaughnessy. That, you know, tipped him to take the Falcon there. It's a big parcel. Gives it to him, falls down.
They allude to that in a little bit.
He's shot, you know, a bunch of times, you know, and
he's like,
he opens it up. We don't get to see it yet, but
Spade goes, by all the wounds, it looks like this just happened a few moments ago.
I mean, he's like, I'm surprised he made it all the way here, bleeding the way he is. Yeah. So and they never really found out how he gets rid of that body either. I mean, does he call the police and they come take him away? And
he tells Effie to not mention the package.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But to call the police and say this guy stumbled in, but don't include all this about the Falcon and stuff.
And that I took the call. And don't mention the package.
And I had to hurry up.
Who did he take the call from? He gets a call from what he thinks is O'Shaughnessy panicking.
Yeah.
And I think she gives an address over the phone.
Right.
So here's the idea. The idea is that, you know, he's going to go out looking for her. They're going to have time to come over there, get the parcel, and split, you know, all these crooks. Doesn't work that way because he ends up taking that parcel to this. I think he does this first where he goes and takes it to like a train station and puts it like in a locker and gets the ticket for it.
Yeah. And puts the ticket in an envelope and mails it to his office, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he catches a taxi to
Effie later on,
to this address. Ends up just being an empty lot. You know, it was a wild goose chase. It was nothing. So we're going to come down to basically sort of like the final showdown here, really, in a nutshell. It's going to take place in Spade's apartment. We're going to have Gutman. We're going to have Wilmer. We're going to have O'Shaughnessy. We're going to have Joel Cairo.
Yeah.
And
everybody is in scene.
Right. And, you know, and Bogart, before he was slipped at Mickey, was offered $25,000 for the Falcon, plus a quarter of whatever its value is.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, if it's worth $1 million, we're talking $250,000.
Right.
You know, plus the $25,000.
Right. So he's got money coming.
So they know he's got it.
Yeah.
They know he's got it. They don't know where it is. They are all at his place. You know, Gutman gives him sort of like some good faith money. Gives him $10,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, we were talking about a lot more money than this." He's like, "Well, you know, just
take it
down
from me.
Payment. You know,
Scout's honor. That's all I can afford.
Yeah, that's all
now.
he says. Yeah, Scout's honor. That's all I could raise right now.
Yeah.
Go figure."
He goes, "Okay."
And you're like, "When can you get it?" You know, I can get it here soon. So
by morning.
Yeah, something like that. Because they need that ticket or whatever to be able to get the, you know, Effie's in on it a little bit too. She's the one who's going to get the mail, go to the train station, get the, you know, the parcel and bring it up. So
I love what ensues though from this point on, with, you know, the dialogue between all of them.
Right, and I can't do it justice.
Yeah, there's no way. The whole scene is basically the breakdown of the movie of, you know, who are they going to blame this on?
Well, because
how are they going to get away with it?
Right. Well, that's one of Bogart's character, Sam Spade. That's one of his conditions.
Yeah.
He's like, I need somebody to pin these murders on of Thursby. And Archer, my partner.
And this is his way.
He's like, because this 10,000 is going to be worthless to me because they're going to come after me,
right?
And I'm the one that's going to hang for it.
Yeah.
So
he points to
Wilmer.
Wilmer.
He's like, how about him? You know?
Although they alluded to Joel and Bridget, a little bit, but it came down to Wilmer. You know,
Right.
he's like
Well,
somebody's
he
got
don't
to
like
take
him
the fall.
anyway. So how about him?
Right.
He gave him that good kick to the head.
Yeah.
So
and Wilmer's just, you know, he's
he's
my
hot.
God.
And Gutman is saying, I love him like a son. You know, I can't. And he's like, all right, I got another idea. It's not as good as the first one, but give him Joel. Oh, me?
Oh.
And he's, stroking his cane. He'd probably do just fine in prison. And, oh, no, I don't think so. But it basically comes down to they're going to give him Wilmer. They're going to give the police Wilmer. He'll take the fall for the whole thing.
Right.
It gives him a little, shot in the face there and knock him down.
Knocks him out, and he's
and
out
I love
on the counter. Yeah,
when Gutman says to Wilmer, you're like,
the sofa.
If you lose a son, you can always get another, but there's only one Maltese Falcon.
Yeah, pretty cold-hearted, pretty,
Yes. Effie brings the parcel. They open it up, and there it is. We finally see the Maltese Falcon, this MacGuffin that's been going on through the whole movie.
I like the little sequence.
I love the word MacGuffin.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't see it till the end, but it's been driving the motivations and actions of all these characters.
But I still that scene that continued on though with I love how they're all laying on the couch, sleeping,
smoking.
resting.
They're all smoking.
Gutman.
That's like the part that Jack Warner saw that drove him nuts. Like they're all smoking.
Yeah. Gutman's reading a book, and they're just waiting. And I love how because they're all laying around, Spade gets up. And he turns a light switch off, which is just a little bulb on the wall. Mm-hmm. Doesn't do nothing.
No.
It doesn't get any dimmer.
No, not really.
But anyways.
But yeah,
and then she comes, with the...
they open it up, and it's like, okay, now we have to see if it's real. Scrape some of that enamel away.
Gutman freaks, man, and he just goes to town. It ends up being
a fake.
Yeah.
There's no gold underneath it.
He's going, oh my God, no, this is lead. This is lead.
There were 4 of these manufactured for the film. It is the ones that have survived. Humphrey Bogart dropped one and broke it. There's another one that's like in the Warner Museum, and you can see that the tail is bented from Bogart dropping it again. And there was another, I don't know about...
Bented?
You
said it was
the tail. The tail is bent.
Okay, bended?
Yeah, I used improper English.
Was it rubber?
No, I don't know. It wasn't actually made out of lead, but whatever they made it out of, probably whatever metal, it bent. The tail feathers is bent a little bit from him dropping it. And then one of them just, I think like a piece broke off of it when, because I'm sure they made it cheap. It's probably not, a high quality.
Right.
But it ends up being the ones that exist, if there's one or two, probably the most collectible movie memorabilia ever. It's worth well over $1 million.
Yeah, I think it just surpassed the ruby slippers in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, probably. I mean, from what I had read and what I gathered, that it's one of the most prized pieces of movie memorabilia ever. So yes, the Maltese Falcon, fake, worthless. And so and now Gutman, he says, "Well,
I love the reaction by Gutman." And I thought he was. I thought he was going to keel over. Did you see?
It looked like he was going to.
And he grabs the back of his neck like, oh my God, I thought he was having a heart attack.
I thought he was having a stroke or something too.
And I'm like going,
because I hadn't seen it. I didn't exactly remember.
I was waiting for.
I remember how the movie ended, but I didn't remember what happened to some of the ancillary characters.
Yeah.
And but my God, is he having a stroke?
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck
it was
that
kind of
all
like,
about?
All right. Well, we've got to go back to Istanbul
and then he straightened up and like he was, just a weird scene.
Yeah, he's
very odd, but
he's telling Joel, okay, we're just going to have to go back to Istanbul where this ended, and
Joel goes,
re-engage the journey.
Yes, I'm in. Yes.
And he even asked Sam to come. He's like, you're a good man to know. You're a good judge of character. I could probably use you. No, thank you, sweetheart.
So Gutman and Joel head out of the apartment. Wilmer escaped.
In the scuffle, when they were checking out the Maltese Falcon, Wilmer jumps out a window. Yeah. So O'Shaughnessy's still there. Mm-hmm. And Sam Spade picks up the phone, calls
Tom,
his police officer friend Tom describes Wilmer to him, says, "Be careful. He's hot. He's armed. Probably. Watch him." And he describes the other two, Gutman and Joel Cairo,
says
and where they're going.
Yeah, the hotel, but and then they're leaving on a ship, but you should be able to catch that, So
they're the ones to blame for the murders.
Yeah, of Thursby and
right.
Yeah, Miles.
And then it's just the two of them, and she's thinking, there's some connection between them that her wiles have worked on him.
Yeah, the interaction between those two, with him trying to get all the information as possible out of her, and her thinking, I've swayed him. I think he loves me. In a way, he kind of does. But yeah, because there's that what he says afterwards about
but
deep.
He basically puts it all together. He's not buying any of her crap.
It's like, if I keep you, if I let this go. You'll have this held over my head forever.
Right. How do I know you're not going to put a slug into me put a couple holes in me at some point because of it? Yeah. He can't trust her. Yeah. Even if he does feel a certain way. And that's where he's sitting down and he's talking about his partner and how, you have to do something about that. Right. And she's just breaking down and breaking down. He finally says, he puts his hand on her neck. He's like, I hope they don't hang you by that beautiful neck, honey. Oh. He's like, chances are you'll get life. You'll get out in 20 years.
Yeah. Our words can't
I'll be waiting for you.
I was just going to say, our words can't do the scenes justice. Because
how he says it to her.
Yeah. And how he moves, and then the expression in his face. If you've never seen it, you've got to see it.
Then after you've seen it, you realize that they kind of told you the whole time. Like, she's always wearing something with, like, stripes on it. Like she's in jail, her pajamas were striped. Yeah. When the police come after he says these lines to her, and they take her because he's giving her up. He's like, you killed my partner. You're going down for it.
Right.
And even when they put her in the elevator, the bars. It looks like bars, like she's in jail. And that other detective, he after the cops have taken her away, he's holding the Maltese Falcon. He's like, what is this thing anyway? He's just the classic line, stuff dreams are made of.
Yeah, and ends right there. Yeah. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah, and not a wasted minute in this movie. Everything is critical to the story. Just, the lights and shadows and everything about this film is just perfection. Yeah. And there's a reason why it was one of the first films placed on the American Registry of Films. There's a reason why it's considered to be one of the greatest films ever made. Mm-hmm. And although not a horror film, a great film. And we're always touting how fun it is to watch these oldies. Whether it's a Universal horror film or another pre-code horror film or one of these old gangster pictures or noir pictures, nothing more fun than just being by yourself at night. Nobody's around. You just put it on your TV and just, settle in and just watch a great story.
Oh, yeah. Love it, Ted.
Not enough people watch these, and my kids have to watch them. So, I'm trying to carry on the tradition.
And if you're watching our channel and saying, what the heck is this, the Maltese Falcon? Introduce yourself to film noir of the 40s. Early 50s.
And if you like this one, this is sort of the cream of the cream. Yeah. But a lot of the ones that Dino mentioned are really good too. Hit him up; he'll tell you which ones to go for.
Oh,
he knows a bit more about them than I do. But that one is like the best.
I haven't seen too many bad ones. Even the cheaper B. And you can film noir. They're all
there's tons of them.
So
if you go on Wikipedia and you look up film noir, they'll give you a list of like some of the better ones. The ones that are really popular. A lot of them have Bogart in them, not all of them.
Right.
But The Big Sleep certainly one of them. Yeah. And you can just use that as a
guide.
A list, a guide. Yeah. But definitely, you're a little bit more knowledgeable on them than I am. And this is probably. Do you think it's the best one out of?
Out of all the film noir, Maltese Falcon definitely, for many different reasons, is my favorite film noir of all time.
If you watch it and you don't like it, I probably wouldn't bother with any others.
Oh, yeah.
But if you watch it and you're like, I want more.
But if you dig it,
you got a lot of...
There's so many avenues you could take from this. I'm talking, this would lead into all the other film noir. But then you can go to the detective. I would say check out Peter Lorre and his Mr. Moto series. Even Boris Karloff had a series of Fu Manchu, which is kind of the same kind of detective type film.
Hammer did film noirs before they started getting into horror films. They did, 'cause
Charlie
Hammer did
Chan?
Lots of different movies before they got into horror.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Charlie Chan.
Charlie Chan.
With Mantan Moreland.
Mantan Moreland.
One of the funniest guys you'll ever...
One of the funniest black men you will ever know.
And you can go on YouTube and listen to some of his stand-up comedy, and it's filthy. It is so funny.
He was in one of the earlier shows.
King of the Zombies.
King of the Zombies.
And, what was the other one? Revenge of the Zombies or something. We did a double feature.
Yeah.
We did a couple of those back in the day. We used to do 2 movies.
Yeah. No, that was a fun one because the movie was great, and Mantan Moreland is great, and he's great in Charlie Chan. He usually plays the taxi driver.
A lot of them are on Amazon Prime. I've got them in my list. I haven't gotten to watch a lot of them yet, but a lot of those movies are there.
My favorite has always been Sidney Toler, who plays Charlie Chan, because it's more comical during that period. Before that, you had, during the 30s and on, you had Warner Olin, who played it a little bit more serious, and towards the end started getting his number one son.
Number one son.
Yeah, and started to get, like, I think Mantan Moreland was in a couple of the older Warner Olin Charlie Chans. But before that, you had bit characters that I'm not going to get into talking about them because, race reasons, because a lot of the older movies
they are relics of their time. Keep that in mind.
They are relics of their time, and a lot of times the black man was portrayed in what they were back in the day, and 2 characters in particular in the early Charlie Chan. Charlie Chan Goes to Egypt. The character in there, the sidekick, was, even I cringe a little bit at how he acts and the way they portray his character. But technically, there were characters. I mean, in real life, the poor. I'm going to stop there.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop there. You know how old Hollywood was,
right?
But it doesn't take away from the movies themselves. Right. They are iconic. Sherlock Holmes, kind of the same way, but a little bit more serious.
We got to do a show with these Charlie Chans because that'll kick me in the ass to start watching them. I've got them all saved in my list. Every single one of them that's on Amazon Prime. I have it saved, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
You
got to make it a show.
You haven't watched any of them?
No, not a one, and I want to.
Fudge.
But see, we got to make it a show in the future because that'll make me watch.
I'll pick the best one out of all of them, and we will watch that.
We'll do a
Warner
show.
Olin also played not the detective, but a what would you call it? His character was played in Werewolf of London. He was kind of after the werewolf, the character. I forget who he played. He wasn't a detective. He wasn't a private eye. He was just maybe a scientist, somebody interested,
professor, or
something like that. He was interested in what was going on with the werewolf. Like, anyways, we did that a long time ago, didn't we? Yeah, we did that.
Did we do Werewolf of London?
I believe
we've been doing this for 4 years. I can't remember.
Okay, we may have done it in the past, but if we didn't, oh well. I guess we
will.
Probably because I've watched it so many times. But anyways, my God, this was fun to talk about.
Yes,
man.
Watch this movie. Give it a chance. I don't think it's streaming anywhere, so you might have to rent it somewhere, or maybe your uncle has it.
You can find it.
Yeah, but
do a search.
It's worth watching.
Yeah, I mean, we are the Late Horror Show, and again, we don't want to be pigeonholed, and every now and then we're going to do something, that we just love, whether it be a comedy, whether it be something like this.
Sometimes we need a couple weeks break.
Yeah, and technically, I'd love to introduce the younger audience or people to something like this. I mean, there's a whole genre.
I mean, Bogart's is so cool. Just drips cool.
I mean, goddamn, if you haven't, even if you're young, if you haven't watched any Bogart movies and you love movies, man, you got to. You got to start with
smacks.
this.
When I slap you, you'll take it and you'll like it.
Oh, that's just... Perfect, man.
Yeah, that's best picture right there. I mean, you know.
But anyways, there you go, man. Again, this was a fun show. I appreciate you guys letting us go ahead and wander a bit out of our zone here on the channel, and
it's healthy.
Yeah, and so there you go, man.
Fantastic.
Not sure what we'll do. Well, you know what, we're going to be able to stream live next week.
We're ungrounded next week,
and Ted wants to do a Star Wars extravaganza live.
I want all of you to jump on the message board here. And I'm ready to go toe to toe about what's cool about Star Wars, what sucks.
Board. He means the
and
chat.
I know all you guys are, geeks like me and love it too. I want you all to come on and let's talk about what we know about the new one, what sucked about Last Jedi, everything.
You're going to have to look into the new movie a little bit too, because we'll get plenty of questions on that.
I know everything that you guys know. I mean, they haven't released a whole lot of details yet. So,
but yeah, I mean,
even though I really have no intention of paying money to go see it in a theater, I still keep up with what's going on. I'd like to know how they're going to ruin it more.
We're Star Wars fans. See, that's the thing. We're fans of a lot of these things, but we hate that we've been given what we've been given after the love we've had from the three original.
I spent a lot of goddamn money.
Yeah.
And this is what I get. So, if you guys are interested in that, next week, hopefully, maybe we'll do that. And in true form, and it'll be a good show, long show, man. We're going to talk about everything.
Have fun, take your questions. And
I'll leave no movie unturned.
Yep.
Except Solo. I haven't watched Solo yet. Maybe I'll watch it before.
I could talk about Solo, but unless
I'll watch it before we do the show. That way I've seen them all.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. Oh, good luck. A lot of these films I could say, but I mean, Solo wasn't bad, but
if you have to say it like that, then it's a turd.
I know. I'm trying to be.
So anyway, we're thinking about that for next week. Just something fun, and to come back live with, because it's for some reason.
And then back to horror.
Yes. Yeah. For some reason, that subject just gets the emotions going and gets people going, and I like that. Yeah. So. Okay, because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Just like a movie like we just did today.
Yep. Oh yeah. And with the new movie coming out, Star Wars, it'll be a lot to say. I know that much. So that's what you'll probably get next week. Look forward to it live, and check out all the links below again, and let us know what you think or thought, if you're still here watching and listening, in the comments below. If you're on iTunes, as always, leave us feedback, positive feedback. Hit the 5 stars or whatever.
Always 5.
I should always be saying this at the beginning of the show, because that's where we get the bulk of the people.
When to say it.
I mean, but anyways.
We do everything ass back.
Hey, I appreciate everything.
I'm glad there's 22 people or whatever that'll listen to it. So.
Well, hey, there's just plenty of on iTunes. We've just gone over 5,000 subs, so happy about that.
Yeah.
Horror Town. My Facebook group just went over 10,000 members, so appreciate that. Go check that out.
Did you start that group?
I did.
Look at it, he started that.
I did. 10,000 members and growing. So, anyways,
that's more than what's on the Star Wars page.
Well, I'm sure there's Star Wars pages or groups even with like hundreds of thousands. But anyways, until next time, you guys. I'm Dino.
Stay frosty, sweetheart.
See?
Yeah.
Later.